All right, thanks everyone for joining us this evening. What an amazing spot, I've never been here before. You wouldn't know it's the middle of winter. It's a beautiful view. Today's session is South Australian Charter Boat Industry Tourism Development Program. It's all about information in terms of what the program is, and hopefully many of you that either here this evening, online, or watch this recording later on, will get the information you need to make a business decision in terms of whether this is right for your business. I'd like to acknowledge the lands that we meet on today, the lands of the Kaurna people, their spiritual relationship with their country before we get underway. Also, I'd like to introduce myself. For those of you that I don't know, my name's Sean De Bruin, and I work for the Tourism Industry Council of South Australia, otherwise known as TiCSA. TiCSA, we are the peak industry body, if you like, for tourism businesses across the state. We have just over 900 members, and they range from charter operators to accommodation providers to four-wheel drive operators. 2/3 of them are based in regional SA, and 1/3 of them is based in Adelaide and the metropolitan area. We do two things at the Tourism Industry Council. We do industry advocacy, and that's all about talking to government about the policy setting that they need to employ to help tourism businesses be sustainable, and we do business development programs. And that's what we're here specifically to talk about and provide information on this evening, is business development program that we're working with government partners on. In terms of housekeeping, those of you on Zoom don't need to worry about. I'm sure you know where the toilets and exits are in your house. Social distancing probably doesn't matter, but we're social distancing here. I'm sure the toilets are probably through that way around the corner. So use the facilities at your convenience. Tonight's session will be recorded, as a number of people are either unable to join us live and be here today, so they'll be downloading the recording at their leisure at home. The program partners that like to acknowledge South Australian Government and specifically Primary Industries Regions SA, the Charter Boat Owners, the Charter Boat Association of South Australia, we'll be hearing from Neil a little bit later on, and also the South Australian Tourism Commission. As I've said, tonight's session is about an introduction, it's about future opportunity, it's about understanding the South Australian Charter Boat Fishing Tourism Development Program and what benefits that program may or may not provide for your business, and whether or not it's a fit for your business. So we very much encourage in that context questions and comments based on further understanding what the opportunity is here that we're here to discuss tonight. The previous minister, who obviously we've just heard this afternoon that the region South Australian minister has now changed, was going to play a video, but due to the fact that there is now a new minister, I do have some comments from the South Australian Government, and as that's all very fresh and changed very quickly, there's no minister here to represent those views, so I will be the spokesperson for the South Australian Government. It's probably the first and last time they'll let me do that, but I'll hopefully do it in a professional way. And these are key points that the government wish for the industry to understand. That there's been over $500,000 put into supporting charter boat diversification grants program. There's been grants put forward and applications received from 11 applicants where there's been $200,000 of support provided. The South Australian Government recognises the importance of this sector, contributes over $14 million to the state economy. There's also strong recognition from the government that it is a sector that is very vulnerable. Obviously, it's been unprecedented what we've seen in the tourism industry more broadly over the last 6 months, but this sector in particular has faced huge challenges with the changes to particularly the snapper fishery, and the government recognises that that's had a significant impact for business owners. This program is about helping those businesses look at opportunities to diversify. The government wants to acknowledge the willingness for you all to participate in the discussion, information session, in person or online, or through recordings later on, and thank you for your engagement. The program is about diversification, as I said. It's about skills, it's about looking for future opportunity in tough times, which the whole tourism industry is doing at the moment. These are times that we've never seen in our industry and hopefully we'll never see again. The program isn't about a one-size-fits-all. It's about looking at what's right for your business and dialing up those elements that will be best for your business to get you to financial sustainability and to reinvent and reinvigorate. Visitor experience is part of that. Here is my government announcement. Now I would like to ask, actually before I do that, I should just quickly map out what the territory will cover this evening. So formalities will go until 6:30. There'll be opportunities for questions and answers and comments at different intervals as we work through it. There'll be then an opportunity for a little bit of networking on site here, and we'll have everyone off by 7 o'clock. I'll next, in a moment, I'll ask Neil McDonald to come up and provide some opening comments from Charter Boat Owners and Operators Association. We'll then hear from Mark Phelps from the South Australian Tourism Commission about opportunities and the value of tourism. We'll then have a case study from Ange Estoy. I don't know if I've got that even close to right, Ange. You correct me later on. My pronunciation is notoriously poor. To hear about, and I believe you've been here, Ange, and had a look around South Australia, but to hear about some of the different innovations that your business has worked through. Then Ros Becker from the Tourism Industry Council, who will be looking after the program that we're here to present this evening. We'll be outlining the specifics of the program and talking to the elements that hopefully will support your business to find its next phase of growth. Then we'll hear from Tom De Vittorio, who is actually a member of TiCSA and has particularly dealt with our accreditation program. And so I'll ask Tom a few questions about how that's been for his business and the value that it's, and the opportunity in terms of that it's added to his business and his sustainability. And then we'll open it up at the very end for any last questions or comments. So without any more from me, I would ask Neil McDonald to come up and say a few words. Thanks, Neil. Please use the mic.
Welcome. Thank you very much to those present tonight, particularly to Sean and TiCSA and for helping put this workshop on, and the people from PIRSA and Tourism SA for their support for this program for the industry. It goes without saying that it's been a difficult time for the charter boat industry due to the snapper restrictions, and then compounded by the consequences of COVID-19, which has hit this sector particularly hard. It is recognised that the government has made a significant commitment to support the charter boat industry through the waiving of the fees, something that it hasn't applied to any other sector of the seafood industry. So whether or not the industry thinks it was reasonable or appropriate, you certainly are in a much better position than other sectors in the seafood industry. The Diversification Fund was a great initiative that sought to assist people affected by the initial snapper impacts. And the fact that we are in a position now where we're talking with PIRSA about some further changes to the regulatory environment, I think are all positive outcomes. And in that context, I will say at this point, I'd like to thank the former Minister for his commitment to the industry for actually providing all of those three activities. He felt very keenly the impact the snapper impact had on this sector, and he recognised that by virtue of taking a hard stand, getting assistance with respect to the licence fees, which, as I said, Cabinet refused for other sectors, and the fact that he was able to argue for a pool of money to help you with your businesses, I think speaks, despite what people may think of him as a minister, speaks of his concern and understanding of the opportunities your industry provides to regional communities of South Australia. The government clearly is keen to see this industry grow, and this training program should in some ways, we hope, help provide that opportunity. It's been heavily subsidised by the government, which is something we also recognise and thank them for, and it's clearly another way to help with that diversification process. PIRSA's partnered, and we've been quite pleased with the way PIRSA's partnered with Tourism Council of South Australia to help develop this program for the industry and to offer the diversification opportunities to operators to enhance the tourism offer and experiences that can support your business and develop your fishing activities, which this program still recognises and acknowledges is the cornerstone of your business. This isn't about changing your business fundamentals, it's about finding opportunities to add to them that enhances those opportunities and those offerings. So the fundamentals of charter boat fishing continue to be the ability to offer clients a trip on a boat to catch fish. The opportunity then becomes available to you to look to what else you can offer beyond what you already get incidentally in what you provide your clients now. We've been associated quite closely with this process. Marilyn's worked quite significantly on it, working with the program's development and looking at other successful programs that have applied in other areas of the tourism sector. As charter boat operators, there are some that are already using this program to support their business, and as Sean said earlier, we'll hear from Tom later, who's already using that opportunity, and it offers, certainly offers you another string to your bow in terms of how you look at your business and how you look at your client base. The information session today is an introduction. What we would like to see is the take up from, quite frankly, I think the really positive response we've got from the registrations for this session tonight, either here in person or online. I was most impressed with the level of interest that it drew from the industry, and I hope that you see some value in that offering and continue to commit to it and work with it. And certainly I'd encourage all licence holders, whether they're part of tonight's session or not, to look to this program as being something that can add value to your business beyond what you're already doing. Thanks.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks for those words. And I think it is about looking for value for your business. So we're very keen to have the discussion this evening and continue discussion in terms of how this program can add value to each of your businesses. Now I'd like to invite Mark Phelps, South Australian Tourism Commission, to come to the lectern and to speak. Looks like you're trying to sort out a PowerPoint presentation, Mark.
Yes.
And is it doable, or how are we going to go with it? Friday's doable in tap dance, or we have to solve it? Probably the last thing that we need. I'll hand over to you now. Thanks, Mark.
Just bear with us as we get these technical difficulties out of the way.
Yeah, it's on there now. We had it for a sec.
All right, not sure if we're going to get this resolved, so I'll just kick on. So my name is Mark Phelps. I'm Business Manager, Product Development at the South Australian Tourism Commission. Originally from the wonderful fishing region of the Eyre Peninsula, and it's great to see that there's a lot of people logging in online from regional SA, as well as those people here in the room tonight. So thank you. The South Australian Tourism Commission, we're a state government agency. We're tasked with increasing visitor numbers to the state, increasing visitor expenditure to the state, and also increasing jobs within this sector. Our role is really focused on marketing to the state, marketing the state to national and international audiences. We've got 8 offices around the world. We also have an events SA team who not only manages our own events, such as the Superloop Adelaide 500 V8 race, the Christmas pageant, Taste of Australia, but they're also tasked with bringing new events to South Australia. Back in 2014, the South Australian Tourism Plan 2020 was published with a goal to increase visitor expenditure into South Australia from 5.1 billion to 8.1 billion. We actually ticked that off in December 2019. So we did achieve that goal. Now, we've obviously had a pretty big hiccup right now. So we've certainly dropped back over these last few months in terms of that goal. But we've announced that that's 2020, so we've now recently launched our 2030 plan, and that is to grow the visitor economy to 12.8 billion. So everyone's saying in the office, the experts in terms of research, that we're obviously taking a big hit now, but hopefully we'll see, obviously international's dead, but we're seeing a lot of interstate travel. Hopefully as the interstate borders, that pent-up demand for travel help fill some of that void. And we'll certainly be doing our best to market South Australia as much as possible and get as many people here. So, yep, tourism is an economic priority as well for the government, and our mission is to make South Australia a destination of choice for national and international visitors. Now, I've got a slide here that no one's going to see, so I'll just run through it. It looks better because there's a lot of these nice little pictures and graphics and things like that. So I might share the presentation with everyone afterwards, just so you can see that. But it just touches on the 2030 goal and what we're going to do to achieve that 12.8 billion and what that actually means to the industry. It means 16,000 new jobs, which is great. Since the launch of the 2020 plan, we've actually seen visitor expenditure grow 40%, just over 40%. Tourism jobs increased 15%, so that's an extra 5,000 jobs in tourism. And this growth has actually been stronger than the state growth. And a lot of that is driven to, you've got it going. Ooh, yes, well, lovely pictures. There we go. So hopefully you can see that back at home. a little bit cut off. But, a lot of that growth was driven around the expenditure and the investment that we had in marketing, but also we've seen unprecedented aviation growth from international airlines. Now, obviously, that's again come to a halt, but we hope as things open up again that we'll be able to get back to those levels quickly and continue that growth. So just to give you a bit of an understanding in regards to where the visitor expenditure comes from, 16% is international visitors, 29% is intrastate, and 33% is interstate, as well as 22% day trippers. SATC, we have 6 strategic priorities. One is marketing, obviously to drive awareness and appeal of South Australia as a destination. Experience and supply development, so that's about creating demand driving products and experiences to get people excited about coming to South Australia. 3, collaboration, so that's working with other government departments, PIRSA, as well as local government, local councils, working together to achieve these goals. Number 4, industry capability, so that's what we're sort of presenting here today in regards to improving our industry's capabilities to work, to deliver and be successful essentially. 5, leisure and business events, I touched on. We've got our events team, but also obviously we'll work with the Convention Bureau as well in terms of conferences and incentives, and promoting the value of tourism. So I'll just touch on a couple of those strategic priorities. Marketing, obviously campaigns that we run across TV, radio, outdoor billboards, print, all these cover all regions of South Australia. We're a challenger brand. We're competing against the other Australian destinations, other states, international as well. And our marketing needs to cut through. So quite often, some of their campaigns might be a little bit controversial or gets a bit of media attention. And that's because we need to do something a little bit different to stand out and to make a bit of noise. We also partner with the likes of South Aussie with COSI. We host journalists and travel trade in our state to experience what we've got here and so that they can promote that further. I just want to touch on social media. So up on the screen is an example of some recent marketing that we did via social media. So this is a Facebook post, features South Australia's best fishing charter spots, and that links through to our consumer website, southaustralia.com, and some of the fishing charter businesses that are registered on Australia Tourism Data Warehouse get a little feature there. So we have quite a big following with social media. So we've got 1.6 million followers on our Facebook. We've got 460,000 followers with Instagram and 150,000 with Twitter. So these are all opportunities for you guys to engage with the audience and leverage these platforms to promote your own businesses as well. And so again, yeah, just touching on the importance of having your digital assets and ensuring that your product is listed on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, the ATDW. This is in the last year. The total visits to our consumer website was up 47%, so almost 8 million visitors to our consumer site. And if you're not listed on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, that's potentially a lot of eyeballs on your business that you're missing out on. So the total leads to ATDW listings was over 1 million, and that's up 65%. So people are looking online, they're looking for information, they're researching. So it doesn't cost anything to be part of the ATDW. So it really should be the first thing that you do. The second area, experience and supply development. So this is The team that I sit in is Destination Development. We're one of the probably smaller teams in the SATC, but we work closely with operators, new and existing, to develop their, to develop their products and their experiences. So we're always out on the road, we're meeting with operators, talking about their products, trying to help them through any areas of difficulty, just offering advice. We've got a whole range of tools and resources online as well, which you may or may not be aware of. So at the end of this slide, there's a little link, and again, I'll share this presentation so you've got all that information. But yeah, definitely worth having a look at that information. We've got a lot of research and statistics, a lot of industry tools that are there for you to use. If you've got any questions about that, I'm always happy to talk to you about it. Essentially, yeah, the role of destination development in the product development side of things. You know, we need new products, we need new experiences so that our marketing team can share that to our target audiences and giving them more reasons to visit South Australia. So SATC has a number of sector-based fishing strategies, including Aboriginal tourism, cruise, and recently completed a fishing strategy last year to really drill down and identify where we can grow those particular segments of the tourism industry in South Australia. So in 2018, we actually started to engage with Go Fish Australia, so Ange, who's talking later, to deliver a fishing strategy for South Australia and for the SATC more particularly. So this strategy really focused on the role of both domestic and international fishing, benefiting the state as a whole. And it was really mostly about identifying the core actions for the development of fishing tourism in South Australia and just providing SATC with an understanding of where everything is sitting and how we can help and assist the industry. As part of Go Fish's activities for that strategy, Ange and her team went to regions across South Australia, interviewing and meeting with fishing charter operators. And it was surprising, or perhaps not surprising, that the majority of fishing tour operators saw no connection between their business and the tourism industry as a whole. So for the SATC to invest funds, resources into fishing, the end product, the tour operators, must also be invested in the outcomes. So we're here to help you, but we also need your help and assistance to be successful. So some of the key actions from that strategy included creating fishing experiences with commission structures so that we can then work with the travel trade to sell these fishing packages to the consumers, facilitating partnerships with accommodation and other providers so that we're not just selling the individual fishing product, let's package it all up as a whole experience. So it could be a 2 or 3 day itinerary with accommodation, meals, tours thrown in as well. Collating images from regional operators for our website, social media and other platforms. Obviously improving the number of operators that are listed on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. These listings ensure that fishing charters are promoted through the SATC as well as Tourism Australia and other booking platforms that utilise the ATDW data. And assisting operators to be tourism ready with the assistance of SATC resources. So similar to what this program will be rolling out for you guys, so we're here to help you. Always happy to come out and meet with you one-on-one, talk about your business needs, and see where we can help. So Tourism Australia, they recognise the importance of fishing to tourism, and they launched a fishing program called Great Fishing Adventures of Australia. Now this is aimed to promote fishing to the international audience. This is one of their signature experiences. They also have Great Walks of Australia, luxury lodges and a few others. In South Australia, we have one operator that's involved in this program, and that's Australian Coastal Safaris. based over on the Eyre Peninsula. So to get involved with SATC, first thing, sign up to the ATDW. There's a link there, it doesn't cost anything. Other states, they do charge to be a part of the ATDW. So it's a free opportunity for you to promote your business. As I said, we get nearly 8 million people coming onto southaustralia.com. So you know, it's a no-brainer for you to be signed up to that if you're not already. Sign up to our industry e-newsletters. Make sure you're aware of what we're doing, our campaigns, our activities, what we're doing that you can also leverage. Explore our corporate website for useful resources, tools, strategies, research and statistics, and leverage our marketing activities. Follow our social media pages. Use the relevant hashtags to promote your business, as well as what we're doing as well. And keep in touch. Get in touch with not only myself or someone else at SATC, but the regional tourism managers as well, as your local person to talk to in region, and then they can come back to us as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I'm conscious of time. We're actually running a bit behind schedule, so I'll just keep things moving. I'm excited to hear you present, Ange. I've got you down for 15 minutes. Just wondering if you can try and do 15 or less in terms of time. I had a quick look at your website today, and it looked amazing in terms of some of the experiences that you're offering. So without any more from you, over to you, Ange, and hopefully we can hear you through whatever system we've got here.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you for having me today. If anyone in the room is like me, you'd be very keen to get to the drinks, so I will keep it short and sweet. I wish my social media stats were as good as South Australian Tourism Commission, but sadly no. In the interest of time, I will put up a presentation. I will just quickly share my screen, and just on what I do, how we do it, here we go, and how we could possibly help you in diversifying. Can everyone see that? You can? Fantastic. Okay, so who the bloody hell is Go Fish Australia? So I've spent over 35 years in tourism. I know I look very young, but clearly 35 years in tourism, and grew up on boats on the Gold Coast. So fishing's in my blood. I just spent the whole weekend fishing actually on Moreton Island, and it was fantastic to see this destination that traditionally was dead quiet this time of year. Ferries were full, accommodation was full. I think 50% of people there were first timers. So it was great to see this domestic activity happening again, people exploring their own backyard. So we do hope that that's also going to be the case for South Australia. As Mark said, I did spend a lot of time in SA and bloody loved it. I miss my abalone and my beautiful oysters, I can't tell you. Love SA and what it has to offer. I will get on to that shortly, but yes, we combine our knowledge of fishing. My silent partner has been a fishing journalist for 40 years. So when we put together a fishing itinerary for someone, we actually tell them, we know where the fish are biting at any time of year, what bait to use. You know, we say things like when it says don't go past that sign, go past that sign about 200 metres and there's a deep valley, etc. As Mark said, Tourism Australia launched their Great Fishing Adventures campaign in 2017, pretty much at the same time I launched Go Fish, after I found a bit of a gap in the market. And since that time, I have worked very closely with state and regional tourism organisations who were like, wow, we know about golf tourism and we know about dive tourism and wine tourism, but we don't know anything about fishing tourism. So come and help us find out what we've got and how we can promote it. So I spent about 18 months doing that, and I was very privileged to work with the South Australian Tourism Commission. So we work very closely also with fishing charter operators, and we just find out, you know, who their market is, where they get it from, what they're struggling with, and we try and funnel business into them where we can. So we have spent a lot of time working on who are the fishermen, who are the fisherwomen, where do they come from, how do they fish, where do they stay, where do they eat. I think you could pretty much split them into two. You've got your people who visit an area and want to go fishing, and then you have your fishing fanatics. And as a lot of the charter operators in the room will know, you have people travelling for the purpose of catching a giant tuna or a whiting, or King George whiting, or a snapper in some areas. So basically my role, I'm lucky, is that I love fishing. I understand fishing. I have my own fishing business, but I also am passionate about promoting fishing to state and regional tourism bodies. So that's me in a nutshell. Fun fact, there are more fishing rods sold in Australia than there are push bikes. So every single Australian has had some experience with fishing. How can they not? Most of us live on the coast. So, you know, I met a lot of fishing operators in South Australia. Some are very successful, some are only on the water 70 days a year, some are on the water 170 days a year. But I can tell you, you are a very big part of the tourism industry. And I can say from working right across Australia that SA are the only tourism organisation who have ever invested time, money and resources into supporting fishing tourism as a brand new market. I can't convince Queensland, I can't convince WA, I cannot convince New South Wales. But SA, since 2018, have been very, very focused, and I just think you should all congratulate them. You are very lucky that you now have a program such as Catch Your Tourism Potential in front of you, because no one else is doing it. So well done. Okay, as we all know, owning a fishing business is not great. You've got wind, weather, closed seasons, breakdowns, maintenance, insurance, illness, fire, drought, commissions, discounts, and now a global pandemic. So my business was personally affected by the drought in November, December. We had some inland locations that we lost a lot of work on. We also were directly affected by the fires, both by location, by a mainland location, but also we lost a lot of business in the peak season where people couldn't travel because of the fires. And now we have the global pandemic. So, you know, if there was ever a time to diversify, this would be it. This program that TiCSA and that SATC and PIRSA is offering is just incredible. So you will have an opportunity for them to look at your business from a helicopter view, have a look at your websites, find some new customers for you, have a look at your social media, and just find a different pool for you to swim in to get that business. So this is a great time to hit the restart button, and you'd be nuts not to get involved in it. This is my version of how it works. Tourism is full of acronyms. There's PIRSA, TiCSA, ATW, SATC. Just don't worry about it. They all have a really important role to play. So you'll see here, you've got the South Australian Tourism Commission, you've got the Tourism Industry Council of SA, you've got the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. I cannot stress enough, you need to befriend those people, bribe them, whatever you need to do. They are the heart and soul of getting bums on seats. So even though you might think it's all very complicated, it's actually not. So below them sits all of your regional tourism organisations in all those amazing regions of South Australia, and they're the ones who you go to. they're the ones you say, how can I find a new market? Why has this stopped working? What else can I do? Because they can look at it and what other tourism operators can do. So there's your support network right there. And then below you guys is where's your bookings coming from? You've got your booking agents who are currently offering, asking for ridiculous commissions, and you've got the general public who generally ask for massive discounts. So being involved in a program like this will just help you navigate all that. So that's the easy version of what's ahead of you. But end result is, as we all say, bums on seats, money in the bank. That's the name of the game. So here's a few suggestions I've put together about adaptation, and I've certainly have had to adapt. I have kayak fishing in the rainforests of Byron Bay for bass that we now offer no fishing. We do helicopter fishing on Fraser Island. Guess what? Now you can go to Fraser Island without the fishing on a helicopter. So I've had to really adapt my business as I did for all sorts of weather events and global events. So I'll just run through, this is the last slide. So I'll just run through them for those at the back of the room who can't quite see. So we've touched briefly on what the program can do for you. Learn how to reprice your product is really important. People think the lower they go, the more bookings they get. Once you go down there, you'll never get back up. And often people associate a higher price with a better product and better safety. So the tourism industry will guide you through all that. Find out what other people are doing. Have a look what's happening in Queensland. Have a look what's happening in WA. Learn how commissions work. Take a look at your website and your Facebook page. Who are your target markets? International is gone for now. 80% of my business was international. So I've really had to look at different ways to attract the domestic market. As Mark said, sign up for your newsletters. You'll find that they'll tell you about grants on offer from the government. They'll tell you about networking events. They'll tell you about opportunities to get involved. The Australian Tourism Data Warehouse is so important, I can't tell you. And Queensland still charges $200 per product for it. So SA have got it right with not charging for that. Look at non-fishing groups who need a boat. And that's what I've had to do for my business. So the scattering of ashes is huge. It's become so popular. Snorkeling groups who want to get out to a reef that they can't normally get out to. Spearfishing, whale watching, ocean swim training. I'm getting inquiries now from these people saying, do you know a boat we can use? So that's part of diversifying your business. If you got kids at school, ask if you can put an ad in the school newsletter. I mean, you never know who's a CEO of a business who goes to that school. Offer a discount to like the doctors groups, the lawyers group, the construction company. And once you reprice and have a look at your product, you'll be easily able to offer discounts without losing you've got your hard costs of fuel and crew and insurance and maintenance. And so, the program will talk you through all that. Make sure you keep in contact with your local tourism organisations. Maybe look at rivers and lakes inland for a bit of diversity. Offer a discount if they rebook. There's a guy I work with in Cairns who offers a 25% discount if they book within a week of coming out for next year. He is fully booked for the rest of 2020 and all of 2021. I cannot get a booking with him because he's got repeat customers. He's called Coral Sea Sports Fishing Safaris if you want to stalk him, and he seems to have just got it right. Obviously, you've got your fishing associations. Go to a couple of those meetings, but the other big market for right now is the bucket list and the milestone birthday. So a lot of people had a milestone birthday. They were in lockdown. They couldn't go, and now they want to spend their money that they were going to spend in Bali on that bucket list fishing trip. So there's just a few suggestions, but I can't stress enough, you need to be consistent. You cannot do that once and expect a result. It's like taking bites out of the elephant. You've just got to, you can't look at the big picture and get overwhelmed in this particular time of year. And that's where this program will absolutely assist you and take that worry from you. And lastly, I do keep up with a lot of what's going on in other countries. The Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation in America is seeing an increasing in domestic fishing tourism year on year. And currently, and if anyone would like to get involved, I'm currently working with the Adelaide Uni, et cetera, there on their Thriving Coasts program. It's a 10-year program where they want to really look at coastal tourism, find out what's happening, how it ticks, how it could work better, how we can all regroup and join together to really put fishing tourism and coastal tourism on the map. So if anyone would like to get involved with that, please let me know. But that's me. If I've held up the drinks, I'm sorry, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, making that slightly quicker presentation probably than planned, and thank you very much for the information you provided. You've certainly got a lot of ideas. I'll now hand over to Ros Becker. Ros is the Industry Development Manager or Programs Development Manager at TiCSA, and Ros is going to speak about the program specifically, and encourage you at the end of Ros's program, at the end of Ros's presentation, to ask questions around the specific elements of the program. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. Now, I know I'm on a bit of a time limit, so I'm already up. Excellent. Thank you, girls. And thank you to both these girls tonight as well. I would have coped with all the issues that they've actually had to do, so I really appreciate it. And certainly for Ali for pulling everything together. And Catherine, who's actually an intern with us, so she's been working very hard on this project as well, which has been really, really good. So thank you, everyone. So the part that I'm actually talking about is the next steps, and probably the bit that you would all like to find out about what we've actually got on offer. So we have actually collaborated with PIRSA, South Australian Tourism Commission, as well as the Charter Boat Association of South Australia, to actually put together a package that you will be able to register in and express an interest following from tonight. For those who are actually here, but I will actually send all this information to everyone out by email tomorrow. On the table, you actually find a Capture Tourism Potential program package, and that lists some of the opportunities that we're actually having available, and you will also find a Tourism Development Program Expression Registration of Interest. So they will be circulated tomorrow, but certainly feel free, if you're interested in registering today, you can actually do that as well. So moving on, so basically the package itself, I just need to work out how I need to move this thing. Is that way? Okay, excellent, thank you. So obviously the aim of the program from our perspective, and obviously yours as well, is to get bookings. We're actually there to actually assist and help you do that, and that's what the program is there to do. So we're not necessarily looking at you completely diversifying, and I know that was highlighted earlier when Neil actually spoke as well. We're just looking at maybe adapting or looking at opportunities within your business that could potentially provide another income source, or actually a new opportunity that maybe you've been thinking about that you haven't actually explored yet, or something that can actually help through the difficult times. So I guess the whole idea is to actually think of this as an opportunity to sit down with someone, which in this case will be myself, undertaking one-on-one coaching to begin with, and discussing some of those potentials and gaps that you actually have available, and actually working with someone who's got a fresh perspective. So for starters, and I guess I'll make this really clear, I'm not an expert in the fishing industry. I know how to fish. I've been fishing before. I have a shack at Port Royal, and I've grown up, you know, going fishing and crabbing and everything else. So I do have some experience, but that's the extent of it. But I have actually been within the tourism industry for over 30 years. So I guess what I can actually offer you is my experience in that. I've also got a background in marketing. I've worked in regions, so I've worked on Fleurieu Peninsula for the South Australian Tourism Commission and Riverland. So I actually have worked with a number of small businesses and have done that whilst working in this role for over 4 years now. So that just gives you a bit of an idea. And I guess what I would like to actually see people do as part of the program is put on their tourism cap and actually start viewing their business, I guess, a little bit more as a visitor and looking at the opportunities that you might actually have. So, we keep turning around just to make sure it's over there. So, went the wrong way. Okay, so this is probably one of the most valuable components, I think, of the package, and that's actually having the 6 months of dedicated tourism mentoring. Now, that would actually be kicked off initially with a 2-hour face-to-face session. Now, with restrictions and everything else, I mean, we actually are going out around about now, and I think SATC probably are about as well. We're on the road, so we're quite happy to start doing that as soon as people actually register in. And what we would actually do is look at your current operations. So, you know, we'd look at whether you're on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, which we've raised a few times today, whether you're actually, what your digital presence is. We'd go through a series of questions, we'd look at what your strategic direction is, and actually look at opportunities for you to actually expand or actually diversify if that's what you wish to do. But it's actually a very tailored one-on-one approach, because every business is actually going to be in a different stage. And some of you may actually have particular packages or ideas that you would like to explore, and some of you may just want to improve your social media, become accredited, look at introducing an Australian Tourism Data Warehouse listing. So everyone's going to be unique, and each of these one-on-one coaching sessions will actually be tailored to your individual needs. So it's really important to understand that once we've done that, then we're actually able to identify the pathway forward. So some of the things that we will be doing as part of the process is looking at your target market, your audience, or potential where the growth opportunities exist and that may be related to your area. If you're wanting to look at packaging or opportunities of collaborating with maybe other operators within your area, whether it's an accommodation operator, we can certainly look at that as an option. But ideally what we want to do is look at your individual business and look at ways and gaps that you may not actually be filling at the moment. So that's the primary purpose of the program, and we'll be able to do that over a 6-month period. So we're actually also offering that, looking at your online options as well. I recently travelled overseas, well, I did in December actually, and I guess one of the things that I found that I did is I did a lot of bookings before I left, a lot of bookings, you know, basically when I was on the road, but then a lot when I was also there. And I guess just looking at those gaps and those opportunities that you may not be filling at the moment and actually identifying them as part of this process. So that's actually a really important component to it as well. And some digital audits, and also looking at things such as our programs that we offer. Now, some of you may already do some of these programs or engaged in them. Some of you may, for example, be tourism accredited, but if you're not, we'll actually take you through that process and coach you through it. Tourism accreditation is a national program, and there's a number of templates and examples on the system. There's a lot of policies and procedure templates that you can use, but it's something that we can actually coach you through and get you through the process within easily 6 months, but easily within weeks or a month, if you have some of the information available. So we'll work with you to do that, and that will ultimately give you those first 2 logos. So one is the quality tourism one, and the second one is the sustainable tourism one. For those of you who are already involved with TiCSA, you probably know about the COVID Clean program. For those of you who aren't, this actually provides consumer confidence in your product and knowing that you adhere to certain standards around COVID Clean. So we would actually make that available for you to do as well. There would be signs and certificates and everything that come with that. So if anyone's using your business, they can feel confident that you're actually adhering to certain cleaning requirements, I guess. We also will set you up if you're not set up already, and some people are accredited but still don't have a Review Pro account. So what we would actually do is work with you to set up your Review Pro account. Now, what that actually is it looks at 175 review sites across the world where consumers actually leave reviews, and it's a one-stop shop. So it brings you those reviews straight to your inbox, basically, and enables you to actually respond. So you don't have to monitor you know, if you had 10 particular popular ones, it would actually tell you when someone posts a review about your particular business, and therefore you would be able to actually respond and go in. You can also set up reporting, so it reports, it just tells you negative reviews. You can organise reports to come on the types of things people are saying. So it looks at the words that are actually used to identify maybe things that you could look at improving. So, you know, there may be people saying your website wasn't clear, and that's coming across a number of different feedback coming through the system, and it will identify and prioritise in order. So there's a lot of semantics within the system which are really, really valuable to your business and your business development. And I would highly recommend, once you set up, to really, really get into that, because there's quite a lot of value within that. You may also want to, if you are accredited or if you're not, go straight through to looking at niche programs, and we can certainly look at doing that, such as the ecotourism, eco-style, should I say, and that's actually could be something that you may think fits with your business brand, and it's certainly something we can also consider. So in addition to that, we're offering digital champions. So what we're actually offering is the opportunity to run through your digital activities, and looking at an online process where one of our staff members will sit with you and actually coach you through your digital presence. So we'll look at your website, or look at your social media, we'll look at all the different gaps and provide a report at the end in which you can actually then address all the issues that have been highlighted. So you can do that as an individual self-assessment, and then we actually contact you and work through it, or we can actually do it with you. So there's a couple of options there with regards to that. And you will also get access to a number of either face-to-face or actually webinars around workshops around the tourism industry, such as pricing, packaging, partnerships, commissions. So ways of actually looking at your pricing for your business, and ways to actually promote it as well, and different marketing. So in a nutshell, that actually gives you an idea of the types of things that will actually be involved within the package. And what we're actually doing is making it available. There are 20 spots that are actually currently available. The package is valued at around $3,000 per business. And again, that depends on your level of engagement currently as well. There is a cost to actually commit to the program. So there will be an initial $50 to actually register. And we would invoice you for that following your registration. Upon completion of the program, there would be a final fee of $250, which would actually just ensure that you kind of commit and go all the way through to the program, and that actually gives you also membership with the Tourism Industry Council for 12 months as well, which will keep you informed about everything, invite you to our events and activities, and keep you engaged throughout all the different programs that we offer. So, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask, but you do have flyers and I will send them out, which will give you a bit more information, and I am around obviously to chat.
If you're already a member,
yep.
You have been for 14 years or however long, we've already got these benefits.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's no reason for me to re-register for anything, is that?
So for some of the things you potentially have, some, for example, workshops would be an additional value add.
Yeah. And the audit, something like that,
the digital audit?
Digital audit, something
yep.
like that.
Yep.
I'll ask for that.
Yep.
Yep.
So what I've actually found is, and I've run a number of coachings with individual businesses for the last 4 or so years. A lot of the coaching sessions do initially go for the 2 hours, and we sometimes go in with the intent of, you know, dealing with their social media, and I leave later with a list of about 100 things to follow up, or connections to make, or things like that. So often they can lead to different things. So initially you would still get all the mentoring, and that probably is the primary part of the business package. What I would say though is, if there are areas of expertise, for example, you needed to consult with our social media company that we use, then we could actually go, well, you've actually ticked all the boxes here, but you really need a social media specialist to actually help you with something. And I'm not a social media specialist, and there's a limit to what we can do within the realms of what our resources are too. So then we would actually line that up, and that will be incorporated within the program. So there are actually, and which is why I say it's very tailor-made, because for example, you're already engaged or have done a number of these things. Some people haven't. And I guess it's actually finding, sitting down, doing that 2-hour coaching session and identifying what your direction is, what you do or don't need. And hopefully at the end, the intent is that we are actually able to find a product that is bookable and bookable online. Now that won't happen necessarily for everyone, but it might be the step leading to that. But we would certainly like to see that some of the businesses are able to get to that stage, or at least get accredited. Like, it's national tourism accreditation. So definitely it would be tailor-made, and we'll be able to certainly offer whatever you need when we actually sit down and do the coaching. No more questions? Okay, well, I'll be in contact with everyone. So if people actually register, you'll have my email tomorrow, so I'm happy to actually chat more with you on the phone over that and line up a time to actually chat and run through the program. So thank you.
Thanks, Ross. So we're nearly at the end. I was going to ask Tom to come up and talk a little bit about accreditation for your business, Tom, and the value it's added to your business and experience, so that the vast majority of people in today's session and in the recording haven't been involved in TiCSA previously. So maybe, are you happy to just come up, Tom, or for me just to ask a couple of questions? I'm conscious that we are over time. But specifically around you and your business, Tom, you've been accredited since 2014. It's obviously been useful for your business.
Yes, it has.
So I'm just wondering, can you speak a little bit about why you did it and why it's been useful to your business?
So my sort of field is the accreditation, which is a big tick for me because I deal with a lot of accreditations. And I feel that the outside community take a good look at that. And I strongly believe that as a worldwide, it is a big bonus for you. Now, whether it's going to help your business or not, that's entirely, up to each individual, but it's helped me a fair bit. I get phone calls every so often from Roz or partners that are coming through, see how things are progressing, or if we need any, help with certain areas, then they're there for us. So in my business, I think it's helped quite a bit. But like I said, it's entirely up to you on how you are going to, how it's going to fit into your business and if it's going to be viable for you. But I can only talk about myself, but yeah, it's worked out quite well.
Thanks, Tom. So Roz quickly just alluded to accreditation and said that there's lots of templates. The way I like to talk about accreditation is that best practice, business minimum standards, particularly relevant for SME businesses that don't have the capacity of larger businesses to sort out all your policies and procedures and licensing and insurance and things like that. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, no, it has. It's been tough, but once you've got everything all in place, it's straightforward. So they're the key fundamentals that you've got to have, and yeah, it works quite well.
No, thanks, Tom. I really appreciate it.
That's all right.
I really appreciate you coming out and just speaking briefly about it. I think I'm happy to throw it back open to the floor, either virtually or here today. Are there any more questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll wrap things up. But Roz is certainly available to continue the conversation, so I'm sure others in the room are as well.
Sean, it's Keith here. I've only got one comment. I don't know if I'll be able to hear me on the screen or not. Thanks.
So keep running PIRSA. I just a couple of comments before, and it actually relates a bit to Angie's talk where she threw up a few different ideas. One of the things that has happened recently, I think, and probably Neil alluded to it in his talk, is a little bit of a move towards trying to reduce some of the regulation and try and reduce red tape in relation to your industry as well. So we're doing a couple of things in relation to baits, some stuff to do with SBT, which we're working through. If there are other ideas, bring them up through this, because I think there is opportunities in this space given where we're at, what's going on, what's happening in terms of visitation. As a group, continue to work on them. It's a much more difficult if it's just individuals talking about it. If you come as an association with some of those ideas of how you might do that, I think there's scope and opportunities to at least consider them now, whereas in the past probably there hasn't been. So that's just one comment I think from PIRSA, from a regulatory perspective. If there are things you think that might assist you with your business, I think it's a pretty good time to start to bring some of those ideas up for now.
Thanks, Keith. I might just wrap things up. Hopefully, the aim of today's session was to provide some information in terms of each of you and your future business activities. I really encourage you, have a look at the program, give Ros a call, have a chat to her, buy her a coffee, bend her ear if that's what you need. At the end of the day, it's about helping all of you on the business journey. Obviously, business conditions have never been tougher, but there is future opportunity down the track, and it's a good time. What we're finding more broadly across tourism businesses is that there is a lot of business development going on because people don't have many customers at the moment because their markets aren't accessible. So please, I encourage you, take away the information, engage with us directly, talk to us about what the program can do for your business. And as Keith said, we are there to help people on their business journey. We do recognise that things are extremely tough at the moment. So thanks everyone for joining us online. Thanks very much to our speakers this evening. Those in the room, please join us for a snack, a drink, and I'll close today's session. Thank you.